Army, a place to be all you can be.
It is a rare day in the NFL when two teams with a combined record of 7-13 can attract a sellout crowd of some 80,000. But that's the kind of day we have just outside of Buffalo, New York. As today in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, with their 3-7 record, play host to the Miami Dolphins in their very undolphin-like record of 4-6. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald, along with former All-Pro lineman John Hanna. And you've got 80,000 fans here for only the second time this year, hoping to see the Bills do something they haven't done in 3 seasons, and that's win 2 straight ball games. And, John, anytime you've got quarterbacks like Marino and Kelly, things can happen very quickly and get very exciting.
Dan Marino is the NFL's all-time passer. And if he has a 300-yard day, the Miami's record has been at 14-5. Jim Kelly, on the other hand, is the all-time leading passer at the USFL, and he'd very much like to have Dan Marino's title right about now. When he drops back, look at him also going to Pete Metzelar's number 87, who at 6'7" is a big target.
And, of course, Marino has a couple of outstanding targets, the March brothers, Duper and Clayton.
That's right. These two guys represents Miami's version of a balanced attack. Both these guys have 41 catches apiece. Clayton has 825 yards, while Duper has 794. So if you like a passing game, this is the place to be.
And, of course, the head coach for the Buffalo Bills in his second game here at Rich Stadium, Marv Levy, a winner in his opener last week against Pittsburgh. And across the field, leading the Miami Dolphins, the veteran Don Shula, tied with Tom Landry for most wins among active coaches in the NFL. The Dolphins have suffered this season, 4-6 obviously now, not a playoff contender. Weather, not the best today. Temperature has warmed up. The forecast calls for the possibility of light rain. There was snow 2 days ago. There's snow on the sidelines. It's damp and it's cold at Rich Stadium before this sellout crowd. Getting set to kick off now, Scott Norwood, the second-year player from James Madison for the Bills. In the deep spots for the Dolphins, Craig Ellis and Ron Davenport. The crowd into it already. We're underway at Orchard Park. On the near side, it's Craig Ellis. Out across the 20 to about the 23-yard line before he's tripped up and brought down. Steve Tasker, who was just acquired on waivers from the Houston Oilers, who will be doing some return work today for the Bills, in on the tackle. This is his second game for Buffalo. Let's take a look now at the Miami Dolphins offense. The familiar figure, of course, of Dan Marino at quarterback, Hampton and Bennett, the running backs, with Clayton, Duper, and the tight end Bruce Hardy. Up front, Easter, Foster, Stevenson, Lee, and Cook in the interior line had multiple injury problems early in the year. Just underway at Orchard Park, and Marino on the ground. First carry goes to Lorenzo Hampton, and Hampton gets out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Bills defensively did quite a job on the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. Let's take a look at how they line up with McNanny, the veteran Smirlis at nose tackle, and Bruce Smith back in action after seeing only limited play last week because of an injury. Here's your linebacking core, Eugene Marv, the man to keep an eye on here. He leads all tacklers. And the defensive backs, Bellinger had a great game last week, Romes, Bayless, and Freeman. Second down. Man in motion is Hampton. For the first time, Marino throws, hits his tight end Hardy out at the 35-yard line, very close to the first down. Ray Bentley, who starts at a linebacking position for the first time under Marv Levy, in there on the tackle.
Both these teams already starting to pound on each other. You know, there's not a whole lot of love lost between these two guys.
A pretty good rivalry in the AFC East, and the Buffalo fans have responded en masse. Despite weather conditions 2 days ago were really frightful as winter hit western New York for the first time. A little bit warmer the last couple of days, and much of the snow has melted, although it's still stacked on the far sideline, and it is going to be a damp type of cold that Marino, Kelly, and company will combat today. First down for the Dolphins. Clayton in motion. Handoff goes to Davenport. Staff goes. Boy, they are hitting out there. Rodney Bellinger coming in off the left corner. Last week we mentioned he had a great game against Pittsburgh with 10 tackles and an interception, and he's ready to hit today.
Oh, boy, he stood Ron Davenport on his head that time. You know, he came up there and forced that run, put him right in the gut and turned him a flip. I think we're going to get a good chance to see him here. Bang. How are you doing today?
5 defensive backs now on the field for the Buffalo Bills. Darryl Talley has come out, who had played the left outside linebacking spot. 2 tight ends, Hardy and Johnson, in now for Dan Schuler and the Dolphins. Second down after a gain of only about a foot on that last carry. Marino backpedaling. Under some pressure, sets up the screen. It's Davenport sliding down at the 40-yard line. Eugene Marv was there. Davenport had some running room, but he lost his footing.
It's kind of interesting that time they would go to a middle screen, let the Buffalo's defense get the rush, and just kind of let them get up in front of the ball carrier and then throw the ball. Here we'll see Miami's offensive line just kind of let the defense come through, and as they get through, they just kind of dump it off to Davenport. If he hadn't fallen down right there, he might have had some yards.
Pickup of about 4 yards. We'll call it 3rd and 6 now for the Dolphins. Extra wide receivers now in the ballgame for Miami for the first time. We've got Matt Moore in the backfield along with Tony Nathan. And everybody is out for the pass from Marino. On the far side, this one is not complete at the 50-yard line. It was intended for James Pruitt. 2 men crossing, and it was Pruitt who made the dive. Charles Rome playing on the right corner with defensive coverage, and Miami will be forced into a punting situation as Reggie Roby comes on.
It looked like there might have been some confusion on that last play. Both receivers over there, and then they brought in about 4 different defenders. So it looked like there might have been a mix-up in the patterns at that time.
Ron Pitts out of UCLA anticipating the punt, standing back at his own 16-yard line. Roby, in the first meeting between these clubs this year, did not have an active day. Was never called on to punt the first time the Dolphins and the Bills met. And in that contest, Miami was a winner 27-14. Here's Roby, and he booms one. High and deep, fair catch called for at the 16-yard line. So the first change of possession in this one, 45 yards on the punt by Roby, who is averaging just a shade under 45 in the year. And now the crowd begins to build as Kelly comes out of the field for the Buffalo Bills. They love this man, the new quarterback this season for the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look at his lineup. Riddick, who had a 100-yard rushing game, along with the rookie Byram, who gets his first start at fullback today. Reed, Butler, and Metzelar's the receiving core. Interior line, Jones, Richer, Hull, the rookie Wilford at right guard, and Joe Devlin at right tackle, a veteran of 10 years. Chris Burkett, who we expect to see a lot of action today, is slotted to the left side. Metzlar's in motion as Kelly gets set to pass on first down. Under pressure, dumps it off to Byron. Byron with some room across the 20 to the 25, churning ahead to the 30-yard line. And nearly 80,000 in Orchard Park love it. 15 yards on the first play from scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills.
Some hard running by Byram that time. He's got his chance as a starter, and he's making full use of that chance. Watch the leg drive on this guy. He kind of just floats out there and gets a screen pass. But when a guy gets a hold of him, he just keeps those legs pumping and driving, and he gets those extra yards.
Getting set now for a first down play for Kelly after going to the air on the first play of the game. Riddick in motion. On the ground, it's Byram straight ahead, close to the 35-yard line. Byram, who has carried only 16 times in the season, that's in 10 games coming into this one, and he got 10 of the carries last week in the victory over Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at the defense now for the Miami Dolphins. They have been beleaguered, to say the least. The rookie Turner, along with the nose tackle Charles and big George Little at right end. The linebacking core, and you'll notice that Andy Hendel is playing for John Offerdahl. Offerdahl, the sensational rookie who's had such a terrific season, is hurting today and may not be able to see any action. An ankle injury compounded by a Monday night injury to his right arm. Kelly looking to throw, dumps it out on the flat, and Byram can't hang on. Carl Byram dropped that one. You see the reaction from Jim Kelly. You look at his stats for 1986, completing better than 61% of his passes.
Nice little flare out, just kind of dumped it off to Byram. Didn't do much with it, though. It's kind of funny, both teams have kind of thrown a lot of underneath passes so far, just kind of set things up. I wonder how long it's going to take, though, before they start really going to their weaponry and going downfield with that ball.
Well, 3rd down and 7. They've got 3 wide receivers in now as Burkett, Butler, and Reed are on the field for this 3rd and 6. Out of the shotgun, Jim Kelly calling the signals. You can hear him. Pump fake, got room to run. Needs 6 for the first down, and looks like he has it. Loses the football, but let's see if the play was ruled dead.
I think he is signaling it dead.
The ground cannot induce the fumble, so it looks like the Bills will maintain possession out across the 45-yard line. On the scramble that time, Kelly, who has a rushing average of nearly 5 yards per carry, going to work to get the first down.
Kind of pumped that guy off, and he saw the daylight. They had good coverage that time. He had no choice. Don't you think Buffalo people get a little nervous, though, when they see Jim running with the football?
Well, depending on whose numbers you listen to, that's a $7.5 to an $8 million contract that's out there scrambling around on that AstroTurf. Bills with their second first down. The handoff to Riddick, who gets his first call of the day, is out across the 45-yard line. Rob Riddick had 108 yards against Pittsburgh last year. His first 100-yard rushing game of the season. And you see his season data now. Pretty healthy average at 4.8 per carry.
A nice average. So you can see here he's coming through the ball. But what Miami has done is they've closed their big defensive linemen, the ends, and put them over the guards. So they've reduced them and really stuck the middle up, so you can't really get a good run up the middle. And they're forcing the running back or the running game of Buffalo out over the offensive tackles, where usually you run over the guards when you play Miami.
Andre Reed in motion, handoff Byram straight ahead for a tough yard or two, and that's about all this time. Center of Miami's defensive core sagging in there, led by T.J. Turner. Thomas James Turner, rookie out of Houston, checks in at about 265 pounds. Going to be interesting to see, John, the impact today of the loss of John Offerdahl. Offerdahl has been such a sensational player. In fact, Don Shula and many of the coaches have related his impact as a rookie to the impact that Dan Marino had on the offense. And, of course, Miami has needed all the defensive help they could come up with this year, as you take a look at Chuck Studley, the coordinator, out on the far sideline. 3rd and 5, everybody bundled up against the cold. Temperature in the upper 30s just before game time. Reed again in motion now as Kelly backpedals, has a blitz to face, and he completes the pass over the middle to Reed. Reed at the 40 and out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Miami came with a blitz. Hendel was coming up the middle, but able to get the pass off in time was Jim Kelly to Andre Reed for a 15-yard gain.
I'm sure Andre was sitting out on the sidelines, and when he started his down pattern, he saw the blitz coming, did a little side adjust, came across the middle, and nobody was there. Nice read by not only Andre, but also Jim Kelly, seeing it come across through there. Nice block there at the end, too.
Yeah, nice hit. Coming across was Paul Langford from the opposite corner, trying to chase Reed down. Ball is spotted at the 38-yard line. First time for the Bills now to be in the opponent's territory as Metzlars goes in motion. Kelly with good protection dumps it off on the far side. It's Metzlars, leading receiver this year, down at the 33-yard line. Jackie Shipp and Bob Brzezinski, a couple of backers over there to make the tackle on Pete Metzlars. And you mentioned John coming in. He gives you that big target. He stands 6'7", weighs better than 240 pounds.
All you got to do is throw it up in the air, and all the other little defensive backs are jumping up and can't even reach the ball. But what's impressed me so far right now is the way Buffalo is moving the ball. They aren't making any mistakes. They've been able to move the ball before, but they've always had fumbles and turnovers. If they can keep it together, they might score on this drive.
Ball spotted just a shade inside the 34-yard line now. We're at 2nd down. 5 yards needed for the first down. Riddick in motion to the near side. Inside handoff. Byram shakes off one man across the 30, and he has some room to the 20 and down at the 16-yard line. The rookie, Carl Byram from Mississippi Valley State, shaking off one man at the line of scrimmage and turning in an 18-yard pickup for the Bills.
Byram reminds me a lot of a fullback they had here once before by the name of Braxton. Big, rough, bruising type guy, just runs over people. From what I understand, talking to some of the coaches, he's as good a blocker as he is a runner.
Blackwood and Brown finally able to muscle him down at the 16-yard line. Another first down for the Bills, who've been impressive in their first series midway through the first quarter at Orchard Park. No score in the ball game. Delighted to have you along for this one with a sellout crowd. This is Riddick churning his way to the 12, possibly the 11. Riddick has a cast on his left wrist. You can see it there. It's nicely taped up. He broke a bone in the wrist, and he had that performance last week against the Steelers for a career high, so obviously the injury not causing him a great deal of difficulty.
Well, this is where Miami's got to bone up. You know, they've always been known for the time where they can kind of give yardage and give yardage, but this year they haven't stopped them when they've got inside the 20. Let's see if they're going to do it today.
Second down, ball just short of the 10-yard line. Riddick and Byram in the I formation. Burkett slotted right side as Kelly with a little play action fake has Byram. Touchdown, Buffalo. You see the snow in the background on the sidelines, but let me tell you, this place is warming up in a hurry as the rookie, Carl Byram, takes in a 10-yard touchdown pass from Jim Kelly, and the Bills lead it by 6.
This is the last thing that Miami wanted to see happen, is let Buffalo get up on them. Because those guys get excited, they can go crazy. They've got the talent, they just haven't put it together yet.
First touchdown of the rookie's career, Scott Norwood, number 11, on for the conversion attempt out of the hold of John Kidd. We'll look straight at it. High snap, but no problem. Right through the middle. And the Buffalo Bills using a lot of clock on a very impressive first drive. 5:29 to play in the first. This Buffalo crowd enjoying themselves in the early going. You see the numbers on the scoring drive and a 10-yard touchdown pass. Kelly to the rookie Carl Byram. And there's Byram on the sideline after savoring his first ever NFL touchdown.
I tell you, the fans here in Buffalo have already got the wave going. They're giving Miami a little bit of their own medicine. Because if you've ever been to the Orange Bowl, when Miami gets ahead, you can't even hear yourself talk.
They've got both the upper and lower decks going in tandem around this bowl at this time as Norwood gets set to kick off for the second time. The Dolphins in their first series got one first down and then were forced to punt. We look at Ellis and Davenport now swapping sides here as the return men. It's been 3 years, as we mentioned at the open of this telecast, since the Buffalo Bills have won back-to-back ball games. Here's the kick. Craig Ellis from the goal line.
He's got a cut.
Out across the 30-yard line. Pretty good return that time for Craig Ellis out of San Diego State, a first-year player, and Ronnie Pitts is in on the tackle. We'll watch Ellis retreat to the far sideline. 5:19 to go, first quarter. Buffalo by a touchdown over Miami. Stay with us. Park, New York, just outside of Buffalo, where the Bills lead Miami 7-0. And a short week for the Miami Dolphins. They, of course, were involved in a Monday night game against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Cleveland prevailing 26-16 in that one, and Bernie Kosar had just one of those sensational performances as he threw for 401 yards. Don Shula trying to forget about the woe of Monday night in Cleveland, concentrating now on the task at hand here in Buffalo. His ball club gave up 558 yards, which is one of the 5 leading or worst performances on the part of the Dolphins in the club history in that Monday night game.
That's right, and this man right here is not used to losing. He's not a loser at all. He's a winner in every sense of the word.
Here's the man who has made the Dolphins a winner in recent years, the quarterback, Dan Marino, getting set, trying another series now, starting from their own 31-yard line, trailing by 7. Handoff goes to Woody Bennett, being chased and dropped for a loss. Bruce Smith, second-year player out of Virginia Tech. Boy, he had good penetration that time. He blew by somebody in that offensive line.
I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like he had just kind of a little slant in where he went inside the offensive tackle and went underneath and made the sack. You can see Foster had pulled, and he did. He came underneath and ran Bennett down. Not so gently, I might add, either.
Very emphatic tackle. He's a big man at 6'4", 280 yards. As we watch him get into position now. Second and close to 11. About a half-yard loss on that carry for Davenport. Miami's ground game has really suffered through the season. Here's the pass intended at the 40-yard line for Moore, incomplete. Over on that corner, Rodney Bellinger was there, and also you saw the inside backer Ray Bentley, number 50, in that same territory. We checked the 10-minute ticker for the first time this afternoon. The Giants with a field goal early up on Minnesota. No other scores in this particular panel. Houston and Pittsburgh are 7-7. Walter Abercrombie with an 8-yard run. Moon going to Givens for 33 yards. And Green Bay on a Randy Wright touchdown pass to Philip Epps leads Tampa Bay. Here are our scores, 7-0. We have 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter as we look on Rich Stadium. Sellout crowd for the second time this year. This facility seats just over 80,200. Marino waiting and dumps it over the middle, has more underneath, and he's tripped up in an excellent tackle by Derek Burrows. The veteran Nat Moore tripped up that time by Burrows.
You know, Derek Burrows was the starter. In the last 2 weeks, he's kind of been sitting on the sideline. And every time he's in there on these, you know, third and long situations, he has made the most of it. So you can see right here, nobody's around, but with just superior hustle, he got in there and really saved what could have been a first down.
So Roby comes on to punt as the Dolphins can't get the offense going, and Ron Pitts is back awaiting the kick, standing now just behind his own 20-yard line at about the 19. Look at the numbers on Roby. This one a little more of a line drive, got a little distance, but Pitts will have an opportunity to run it back. He gets about 7 yards, and he is popped right there. About the second or third man down there got a pretty good shot at him, trying to pick up a number. The man who made that hit was Ron Davenport. 44 yards in the punt as we met. Jubilant crowd in Buffalo where their Bills lead the Dolphins. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited. Time remaining in the first quarter. You see the score. It was a 10-yard touchdown pass from Kelly to the rookie Carl Byram. Gives the Bills the advantage. Buffalo with the football now after a 44-yard Reggie Roby punt. Bills working from their own 28-yard line. Kelly with time and contact made over on the far side. Byram, the intended receiver. Bob Rudzinski was over there. You saw a quick shot of Glenn Blackwood as well. No penalty flags down anywhere in sight. Some of the Buffalo fans not real happy with that fact.
Well, it was a legitimate number 50 on the left side of your screen there. Comes in with a little blitz. And although he gave it a good shot of blocking, Rob Riddick just didn't do quite the job he needed to do and put a little pressure on Jim that time.
Blackwood was thinking, I think, perhaps about trying to pick that one off and get to the end zone. Man who has 25 interceptions in his career. Had a 10-tackle performance Monday night in the loss against Cleveland. Play action fake from Kelly. Now Kelly fires down the middle, and look at this.
Oh, no.
Ricky Moore can't hang on. Oh, my. Play action fake, and look at the reaction. Downcast eyes from Jim Kelly because he knew he had something going there, and Ricky Moore just couldn't hang on to it.
And he can't afford to make those kind of mistakes either, because Ricky Moore is fighting right now. He was the starter at the beginning of the year. Carl Bynum came in, took his place. And now he gets an opportunity. You make a mistake like that, you have to go back to the bench and say, oh, man, what have I done to myself?
It's going to be lonely back on that bench after that type of a drop right there. Obviously, with cold weather, all the receivers wearing gloves. Weather could be a factor, but it's something that every receiver in the NFL, of course, has to get used to. And a tough drop there for Moore. Kelly trying again. This one intended for Reed at the 33-yard line, a little high that time. Andre unable to pull it down.
One thing I'm really impressed with, though, is the time that Jim Kelly's getting back there. You know, that's been one of the digs on the Miami's defense, is the fact that they haven't been getting the pressure in. And one thing I can't understand about Miami is, you know, their best pass rusher, Doug Betters, is on the bench right now.
John Kidd standing back. Punt formation now, awaiting the snap at his own 14-yard line. Craig Ellis awaits the punt for Miami. High snap. Kidd pulls it down and gets the kick off. Not particularly long at the 32-yard line. And look at the coverage downfield. On the part of the special teams, that's Steve Tasker once again. He had 3 tackles last week in his first appearance in a Bills uniform, and a big one here. 3:04 to go, first quarter. And moments ago, Craig Ellis fielding a 39-yard punt, and this was the reception he got from Steve Tasker. Boom, right there. And let's check the reaction of the kicker, Kidd, because he had a high snap from center. He was delighted to see that downfield coverage. Here's Marino backpedaling to the 24. Firing far side. Pass is complete. And on the sideline, pulling it in, is Clayton. Mark Clayton in the grasp of Charles Rome, picking up 11 yards on the quick hit from Dan Marino. We check the ticker. Cincinnati draws first blood against Seattle. Giants and Minnesota now deadlocked with field goals. Other activity in the early games today. Still no change here. Houston and Pitt tied at 7. And Green Bay on another Randy Wright touchdown pass. This one going to James Lofton. 2-touchdown advantage against Tampa Bay. Out of the 46-yard line. Dolphins trailing 7-0. Hampton straight ahead for only a yard or two. Ray Bentley, the first-year linebacker out of Central Michigan. He was an all-league player in the USFL for the Michigan Panthers, making the stop.
Ray Bentley's a big linebacker. He's about 250. And what he's known for is being able to come up and take on a big guard when he comes out on him and shed him and make the tackle. That's just what he's done. And, you know, it's funny the way he got his start is because George Cummings so small and then Tony Furjanic being injured.
Second down now. Pickup of 2 on the last carry. 8 yards needed. Miami close to midfield. Penalty markers are down. Pass is dumped off to Davenport. Gets into Buffalo territory for the first time. But once again, the penalty markers are down on that play as it unfolded. Eugene Marv and Lucius Sanford, backers there on that right side, combining to make the tackle. Or on the strong side, we should say.
Miami has always been known to be able to draw the opponent off sides. You know, it started with Bob Greasy. You know, he'd get that count and he'd flex that voice and people would start jumping and quivering and get that extra 5 yards. And I think he must have carried that trait on right to Dan Marino, because apparently, you know, you can see them start bobbing that head and barking those signals, and he'll put an emphasis where it shouldn't be sometimes.
Offside, defense, number 78, second down.
It'll really cause some defenses some problems, at least make them honest.
That's Bruce Smith, who is offside. Let's take a look. Number 78 making the movement there at the top of the screen. Miami in Buffalo territory for the first time now, needing 3 yards to get the first down. This is second down coming up. Hampton and Davenport are the running backs. Marino possibly checking off here. Buffalo making a defensive adjustment now as Marino looks to the right side, completes the pass. Duper still on his feet and finally out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Duper with a lot of little head fakes there and managing to stay in bounds before Bentley could bang him out. 9-10-yard pickup on that pass from Marino.
Not only was it a few head fakes, but a few jitterbug steps. I mean, this guy's feet's moving 90 miles an hour. How would you like to be in the open field trying to tackle that guy?
No, thank you.
That's why I played offense.
Or for that matter, his fellow receiver that we saw at the top of the show. Clayton and Duper, what a combination. Hampton in motion, Marino looking toward Hampton and has him in his sights down at the 30-yard line, be short of the first down. But a nice pickup as the Dolphins now begin to generate a little momentum. We've got some contact over on the far sideline after that 8-yard pickup to Lorenzo Hampton.
Getting a little excited out there, but the thing that I see right now, Buffalo's defense, they're really protecting themselves maybe too much by dropping all their defensive backs too deep. They're giving up these little underneath patterns. And a 4 or 5-yard pass in the long run is just as effective as a long bomb.
Have a minute and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter with Buffalo leading. We watch the defense get set, and now Marino into the crouch. Second down, 2 yards needed for the first down. Straight ahead on the dive play, Davenport. Doesn't look like he got it. Fred Smerlas, the nose tackle, a veteran of some 8 seasons, leading the charge.
Fred Smerlas is you got a great matchup. Both those guys, Fred Smerlas, Dwight Stevenson, both Pro Bowlers. Great fight out there. You know, watch these two guys go after each other. And makes the tackle.
That's a great matchup. You've got Pro Bowlers, as you mentioned, in Stevenson, number 57, the center for the Dolphins, and 76, Smerlas, who's a 4-time Pro Bowler, the nose tackle for the Bills.
You know, and what Fred wants to do after he gets through with football is be a pro wrestler.
Third down, a yard needed. The handoff in inside Davenport, and I'm not sure that he got it this time. Rodney Bellinger with penetration from the left corner, number 36, in there to make the stop. And you see an anxious Don Shula trying to get an eyeball there on the sideline to see whether or not they got the first down. Fourth down has been indicated. We're waiting for a moment to see if they bring in the chains. The gun has sounded. We have reached the end of the first quarter at Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo Bills, with an impressive start, lead the Miami Dolphins by 7. Gary Gerald and John Hanna with you from Orchard Park, New York. We look at first quarter statistics. Relatively evenly matched. Buffalo leading the ball game 7-zip. And to start the second quarter, a pivotal play. It's fourth down, less than a yard needed. Miami has given indication that they'll be going for it here, trying to keep a drive alive as they trail by 7. There's a 10-yard touchdown pass from Kelly to Byram, the rookie running back, to give the Bills the advantage.
This is a real momentum team for both, momentum play, I should say, for both teams. Whoever wins this battle is a great shot in the arm.
And listen to the crowd respond now for the Bills defense as Miami and Marino look at fourth and less than 1. Play action fake. Marino goes to the air to get the first down. Hampton out at the 22-yard line.
Basket late to Hampton.
Nice call there from Don Shula. Don Strock on the sidelines, and Shula's right, and company as Hampton comes up with the first down.
You know, that doesn't surprise me at all, throwing a pass though from Don Shula, because I remember a lot of those third down situations and fourth and short situations where he would fake a running play up the middle and then have that little shovel pass back and then go for the long bomb, they'd score on you. So Shula's got a few tricks up that sleeve.
First down for Miami. Dolphins threatening for the first time in the ballgame at the Bills' 22-yard line. That's Hampton in motion, top of the screen. Marino with time over the middle, completes the pass to the tight end Hardy. Hardy pulled down by Eugene Marr. Penetration carried him inside the 20-yard line. We'll wait for the spot as we take a look at Big Bruce Hardy. Checking the ticker, Cincinnati with a touchdown advantage over Seattle. Everything else looks the same. Atlanta now with a field goal up on Chicago. Houston trailing Pittsburgh. And a 72-yard touchdown pass. Joe Ferguson to Jeff Chadwick has given Detroit the advantage over Philadelphia. At the 19-yard line, second down and 7 for the Dolphins. Marino fires over the middle, has his man. It's Davenport out of the backfield, and he is close to the touchdown. We're waiting for a signal. I don't think they're going to give it to him. And look at the reaction from Davenport. He thought he had 6.
They are giving it to him.
He may still get 6 before it's over, but as of the moment, he has not scored.
I think those guys up in the booth are taking a look at that.
Touchdown. There's your indication. Bob Frederick says, I'm going to take charge. Here's your decision. It is a touchdown. Davenport was incensed because he thought they were going to deprive him of 6.
We get a shot to look at it. I don't know whether the guys up in the booth, those extra officials they got up there looking at the same thing. We'll just see what we think here.
That's close.
That was close.
You got to break the plane beneath the ground. That's very close.
I understand now why they had a little discussion anyway.
Ron Davenport's first touchdown of the season. He had not scored yet this year. Wad Revez now comes on for the conversion attempt, and of course the backup quarterback Don Strock is there to hold. This one is still, now we've got a delay down here, and another discussion as Davenport, hands on hips on the far sideline, snow in the background. Waits now, and perhaps could there be a controversy or a decision taking place in that upstairs booth? That's certainly what you have to begin to wonder.
They're talking about it still. I think they're like us. That replay might not have been enough to decide on.
The umpire has the microphone headset in contact with the replay booth. Replay official for today's game is Chuck Heberling, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. Now, it's not the gentleman you see in the front row, but it's that second level back up in there is where the replay booth is located here at Rich Stadium.
They're sitting back there rubbing buttons and everything else, trying to get that thing back and forth. They don't know what they're doing back there.
They have to have what they term indisputable visual evidence, and we'll take another look from a different angle now.
Let's look at this.
Tough to tell, I think, from this angle straight on because of the depth of the lens.
Well, the question was, too, not only did the ball go across, but also which hit first, the ball or the knee? You know, was he down before the ball crossed the goal line? It's a lot of things to consider right there.
It would appear that that angle would be inconclusive. The other angle, however, would be the telling one. And we have what has become a fairly common procedure this season in the NFL, a delay here of more than just a few moments.
I don't know whether...
And we understand now that the play is going to stand as called because the play was inconclusive. That's the preliminary indication we have just gotten from our producer, Elliot Warner, down in the truck, and they have communication with the replay officials. And now we'll get the interpretation and the announcement, I believe, to the crowd from Bob Frederick.
After a review by the instant replay official, the play stands, and it is a touchdown.
So there you have it. They took another long look, and the Miami Dolphins have 6 to trail by 1, and we'll get set now for the conversion attempt. It was a 19-yard scoring pass, Marino to Davenport. Dan Marino throwing his 24th touchdown pass of the campaign. Wad Reve is getting set now for the conversion attempt. And as we can see, right through the middle, and we are tied up here. 7-7. Orchard Park. We have played less than 1 minute of the second quarter. Stay with us.
Today's game is brought to you by the 1987 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. By GTE. GTE. And by Apple Computer, makers of the Apple II, the educated choice in personal computing.
Taking a look at Wad Reve, getting set to kick off after a 19-yard touchdown pass from Dan Marino to Davenport out of the backfield that has tied our score at 7-7. Gary Gerald and John Hanna welcoming you to our telecast today. Second quarter action now, resuming with the kick that is fielded at the 3-yard line by Ronnie Harmon. Harmon with a bit of an alley, cuts back to the middle and gets out close to the 30-yard line. Ronnie Harmon popping that one up there before Mike Kozlowski was there to bring him down, and we'll see that the ball is going to be spotted in the vicinity of the 28-yard line now as the Bills, who scored first on a touchdown pass from Kelly to Byram, now go to work after Miami tied it up with this drive of 9 plays, just over 4 minutes, and the 19-yard throw, Marino to Davenport. Marino, as we indicated, now with 24 touchdown passes this year. First and 10 for the Bills. Kelly with 14 touchdown passes this season, counting the one on the Bills' first drive. Has Andre Reed in motion. Play action fake. Dumps it off for the screen on the far side. Reed loses the football, but he quickly gets back over it. He tried to set up the screen that time. George Little, number 99, was in there. And you see Jackie Shipp as well. Jackie Shipp really had a ball game, perhaps his best game defensively of the season. It's hard to say that after the Monday night game when you lose to Cleveland the way they lost, but he was in on 16 tackles in that ball game.
Well, you know, it is hard to say, you know, a guy you're losing and all this, but there's still some good individual performances out there, and sometimes you have to overlook the record to see who the good athletes are on the team, and he's one of them.
Kelly's last 5 passes have been incompletions. He's hoping to break that string now with a 2nd and 10 from his own 28. Byron back to block. However, he has to scramble, dumps it out to Metzlers. The streak is broken, and Pete Metzlers is out to the 32, close to the 33-yard line, and George Little again was there on the tackle. Penetration that time came from the nose tackle, Mike Charles, and you saw Kelly start to roll out of the pocket to the right side. He rolled right into the path of Mike Charles.
What he saw was number 99, George Little, coming inside. Then Mike Charles went outside and kind of twisted around. He kind of thought they had lost contain, was going to roll out, but he just got confused, I think. He missaw what was going on.
Bob Brzezinski making the tackle. 3rd down now for Buffalo. Their own 32-yard line. Score tied at 6. Kelly out of the shotgun with pressure. Has to hurry the pass. It's tipped away at the last moment. Good defensive play from the veteran Don McNeil that time, number 28, as he tried to hit Ronnie Harmon. McNeil is a guy who's in 6 years in the NFL has really had his share of injuries. He's had a knee a couple of times, an Achilles. He had a broken arm, I remember one season, a broken wrist. He tore some ligaments in his thumb. When you talk about having to play with pain, I suppose McNeil qualifies on all counts. Craig Ellis back anticipating the punt from John Kidd. Kidd gets it off, and boy, he nailed this one. Look at Pitts back up, or Ellis, I should say, to the 14-yard line, and then he slips down at the 19. Craig Ellis had to backpedal to pull that one in. Got 3 or 4 steps when he slipped down and then was hammered. A 54-yard punt in a tie ball game at Orchard. Great to have the excitement and the enthusiasm of a sellout crowd of some 80,000 here on a very cold day. This is definitely overcoat weather today, John.
Well, I tell you, it's cold. It always is in Buffalo.
Indeed. Temperature at game time was in the upper 30s, close to 40 degrees. Possibility of some rain or snow showers later in the afternoon. 7-7 ball game at the moment now as Marino goes to work. He's got receivers all over the place, firing for the far sideline, incomplete. It was Duper at the 38-yard line.
You know, I think this points out something here that, you know, it's might not be really evident to people at home, but there's a big crown on this football field, and it's about a 2-foot drop-off from the center of the field to the sidelines. And when that happens, you know, the quarterbacks come in, they tend to either overcompensate by underthrowing the football, or else they'll overthrow it and miss the guys by a mile.
We'll update the 10-minute ticker. The Giants have now taken the lead over Minnesota. No other changes in this first set of 3. Pittsburgh now with a 2-touchdown advantage over Houston. 1-0, 14-0. Yeah. I thought we had a baseball score going there for a moment. Here's Hampton now. Swing on the right side. Not much working. Lorenzo Hampton trying to find something on the right side, but Steve Freeman, the free safety, was up there along with several of his teammates to seal that one off for the Buffalo defense.
Buffalo's defense has been playing good football against the run. Their weakness has been against the pass. And that's how Miami scored the last drive. Basically, little short drop passes and, you know, finally worked their way down in scoring position.
Last week, the Bills held Pittsburgh to just 53 yards rushing and less than 200 yards total in the game. That was an unusual ball game because there were wind gusts of close to 50 miles per hour throughout that game. It was really tough for the passers and the kickers, but Buffalo won a big ball game for Marv Levy in his first game as head coach. Third down now. Marino out of the shotgun. Looking long down the middle. Pruitt has it at the 44-yard line. So once again, Marino goes into that arsenal, and he comes up with James Pruitt, the rookie from Cal State Fullerton. And he comes up with a big catch, 24 yards on the gain. And you see Pruitt's numbers for the year.
Again, when you see James Pruitt, number 82, out here, you'll see that he's up in front of the defensive backs. I still say I think Buffalo's defensive backs are too cautious. They're trying to play too deep on him, not being more aggressive.
So from the 44-yard line, a Parka now for Pruitt, and Marino goes to work with a first down in this series. Marino with time stays in the pocket, flips it out on the right side. Not much working this time out at the 47-yard line as the tight end Bruce Hardy. Martin Bayless with the tackle. Reminder that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of this contest.
You know, 2 teams that we thought, you know, are out of contention, you know, they're not really, you know, supposed to be great teams. This is an exciting ball game. Both these guys are really hitting each other. We've seen some good offense so far.
As you mentioned right in the first moment, John, there's quite a rivalry between these 2 teams, the Dolphins and the Bills. Not a lot of love lost between them. 2 tight ends now for Marino. As you saw his numbers, he's had another impressive performance, hitting 11 of 14 thus far, and goes to work on his 15th passing attempt. He drills this one in at the 45-yard line, and it is caught, I believe. It's the tight end Hardy who came out of there. We weren't certain at the moment who had the football. Darrell Talley, outside backer, making the tackle. Bruce Hardy gives you that good dependability. He's closing in on 200 career receptions now in his 9th year. In fact, he's a proud father, I understand. Just a week ago, his wife Joni gave birth to their 4th son, Matthew.
You know, I think Miami might be one of the most prolific teams in the NFL this year. Not only did he have a son, but I also heard that there's a couple other guys on the team that are going to have children. I heard that, well, I can't, my mind slipped. Glenn Blackwood's going to have a kid, and Tony Nathan's going to have a little baby here. So there's a couple of them.
Well, Marino, after a quick conference with head coach Don Shula, now has a first down to work with in Buffalo territory. Buffalo scored first. In case you've just joined us, it was the first series for the Bills, and it was an 84-yard drive, 10 yards, Kelly to Byram. Marino answered back with a 19-yard touchdown pass to Davenport, and the Bills now digging in their own territory against Miami. Marino with plenty of time fires, and it's Bennett at the 34-yard line. Out of the backfield, Cody Bennett brought down by Talley. Dan Marino has so many receivers that he can go to in that offensive scheme for Don Shula. You know, you hear about the Dupers and the Claytons, but we just saw Hardy make a catch. We saw Bennett out of the backfield, a touchdown pass to Davenport earlier out of the backfield. That's a real arsenal.
Dan Marino's got all the time in the world, but you know, one of the prerequisites of coming to Miami, I think now with him back there, is you've got to catch the ball. But again, he does have time to deliver too, and somebody's bound to be open if you give him that much time.
12-yard pickup. As you can see, they average better than 285 yards a game passing. That's tops in the league. There's Davenport, tripped up. May have lost a half yard as he tried to get out of the backfield to the right side that time. Bentley was there. Sean McNanny also over in that particular area.
Miami is just trying to keep Buffalo honest. They have not been productive on the ground today against this defense, but they have been in the air. They better stick with what they've been doing best.
Buffalo Bills have not been a team this year that gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They've generated only 17 sacks in the first 10 games of the season. And thus far, Marino's had pretty much his own way back there as far as time. Second down, we'll still call it 10 after a loss of perhaps a half yard in the last play. Three-man rush. Marino again steps up with time and completes the pass to Hampton at the 30-yard line. Lorenzo Hampton brought down by Darryl Talley. And again, Marino throwing underneath, going short. We've only seen him go long on a couple of occasions to either the speed merchants, Duper or Clayton.
You can see everybody there at the bottom of your screen just dropping straight back. And so you're not going to burn me. We'll give you the little short stuff, or you're not going to burn me.
So that'll bring up now a 3rd and 7 situation. Talley making the good clean tackle that time. 4 wide receivers now in for this 3rd down play. The Bills with an abundance of defensive backs as well. Out of the shotgun, Marino. Little pressure this time, had to hurry it, intended for Nat Moore, and didn't get it there. And that's what a little pressure can do up the middle.
That helps your secondary 100% because it makes the quarterback throw the ball quick. The receiver doesn't have time to go out and run a pattern, and then he's, you know, all of a sudden he says, well, God, I'm covered. Let me make another move. And then he makes another one.
Sean McNanny, number 95, and we'll take a look at Marino now as he gets hit just as he started to release the ball.
It makes a quarterback think, too, if he can hear a little bit of footsteps every now and then.
Reves is on for a field goal attempt, and this will be a lengthy one. Going to be spotted at the 47-yard attempt now for Juan Reves. 7 of 14 this year. That's the lowest percentage among field goal kickers in the NFL, and it's blocked. The Bills have it. Coming up with it for Buffalo is Steve Freeman, and Freeman finally wrestled out of bounds. And listen to this crowd now at Orchard Park come alive after the blocked field goal attempt.
Steve Freeman alert, made the big play. But I think there's a mistake that's, you know, we've seen 3 people fall down today. We've seen 2 receivers that caught the ball, go down, they fall down. Now we see the kicker here. He goes up, he plants, he slips, he falls, he misses the kick. The mistake that's made out there is they didn't bring the right shoes with them. They should have tested those shoes before they ever got on the field so they wouldn't be making those kind of things. That's just equipment fault.
Back at Orchard Park. The crowd into it once again now as the Bills in Miami territory after a blocked field goal attempt go to work, and it's Kelly looking deep. Fires to the sideline, and this one underthrow intended for Burkett.
That was a poorly thrown ball. Buffalo this time, they've got great field position. They've got to capitalize on it right now.
Let's take a look at the block now. Fred Smirla's right up the middle. See the left hand go up, and there it is, knocking it away. It was Freeman who came up with it and made roughly a 33-yard return before he was muscled out of bounds.
Fred Smirlis has played some good football today.
Indeed he has, and that's a big lift for this ball team in a tie contest at 7-7, 6:50 to go in the first half. Kelly with an abundance of time. Byram out of the backfield inside the 40 down to about the 36-yard line. Byram, who caught a 10-yard touchdown pass earlier, pulling this one in as we check the ticker. Cincinnati's lead is now 10. The Giants up 3 on Minnesota. 21-7, Pittsburgh over Houston. Still no score between New Orleans and St. Louis. And no other changes here in the games at Philadelphia and Green Bay. We're tied at 7 with 6:19 to go and the clock running here in the first half. And a very entertaining first half before a sellout crowd of some 80,000. Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Good look at Jim Kelly. They love this man in Buffalo. Inside handoff. Riddick, he's got some room. He's just short of the first down, it appears. Glenn Blackwood was over there to bump him out of bounds. The inside handoff to Rob Riddick, and it looks like he came up just short. And Don Shula is really giving what for to one of the officials on something over on that far sideline.
I don't know what he's talking to him about, but I do know this. Glenn Blackwood, who they say is a slow guy, really made a great play to keep him from making that first down. Because there was nobody over there. Just 2 guards in blue leading the way.
Glenn Blackwood is just recently off injured reserves. He was slowed by a very severe thigh bruise through much of the early season.
He said that thing felt like mashed potatoes the first part of the year.
4th down now for Buffalo. Here's another one of those pivotal plays. Don Shula on the far sideline. Marv Levy on the near side watching his ball club. 4th and inches. 3 tight ends for the Bills. Big Riddick in motion. Byram, the rookie, gets the call. He's got the first down. Making the most of his first start from Mississippi Valley State. There's a good close-up of Carl Byram as he goes back to the huddle now, and he keeps this drive alive. Let's take another look, John Hanna.
This is the kind of thing that you need to fire up your team. You know, it's 4th and inches. Everybody's getting down and dirty, and you make it. That fires everybody up. It makes you have confidence in yourself.
At the 29-yard line, it was center Kent Hull, Jim Richer, and Will Wolford, the guards, opening the hole there, and Byram went straight ahead. Metzler's in motion. And Kelly to throw. Now under some pressure, has to put it into traffic, trying to hit Byram at the 26-yard line. George Little was in there, forcing Kelly to hurry up that throw just a bit.
He did hurry him up a little bit, but to be honest with you, I think he had a lot of time then. You know, there's nobody open. Sometimes those defensive backs help that defensive line out, just like what we saw a little while ago when they put the rush on Dan Marino. Another
evidence graphically there of the defensive woes that have followed the Dolphins through the first 10 weeks of the NFL season. Not particularly impressive numbers for Kelly, but he's got his ball club on the move in a tie game against Miami. We're at 7-7, counting down here in the first half. Byram trying to work his way close to the 25-yard line before he's hammered down, and we have 5 minutes exactly left in the first half. Mike Charles, the nose tackle, along with Andy Hendel. Hendel again playing in place of the injured John Offerdahl, the rookie. Offerdahl had an ankle sprain that had slowed him in recent weeks, but it's an elbow injury suffered at Cleveland Monday night that's kept him out of this game thus far. Kind of a little rollout action, fake type thing, then they handed the ball off underneath. Both teams now fighting, want to go into halftime with a lead. 7-7, 4.5 minutes to go first half as Kelly goes to the air. Wide open over the middle is Butler and is pulled down at the 11-yard line. Jerry Butler pulls that one in. Another first down for Buffalo on a 16-yard pickup. One of the extra defensive backs, the rookie, Renee Thompson, there on the tackle on Jerry Butler.
Just a little simple across the field type move, just runs out, kind of post, comes inside. Nothing fancy, and sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Thompson getting an assist from Blackwood on the tackle. Bills, however, on the move. Deep in Miami territory, just short of the 10. Riddick, the ball carrier, with a head of steam. Look out! Riddick scores for the Bills.
Riddick did make a great run that time, but I think we got a perfect example of number 35, Carl Bynum. He threw a block that just sprung him wide open. It was a beautiful block.
Well, let's take a look and see if we can see it now from ground level.
What's number 35 running right at you here, throwing this block? Bang.
Oh, yes, indeed. Wasn't that pretty? Right at the line of scrimmage. And Rob Riddick coasting home his 4th rushing touchdown of the year as we get set for the conversion attempt from Scott Norwood. 3:39 to go first half, and another impressive drive for the Buffalo Bills, who have broken the tie and have taken the lead, now trying to pad it out to a full 7. Again, a high snap, but no problem for Norwood. So it's a 14-7 ball game here, and on the sideline, Riddick gets the comfort of that extra heavy jacket because it is a very chilly day, to say the least, outside of Buffalo. 3:39 to go here in the first half. I want to remind you that next Saturday, Sports World roars into action as we'll take you down to Florida for coverage of the CART Nissan Miami Indy Challenge. National title on the line, Michael Andretti battling Bobby Rahal. And, of course, you'll see the likes of Danny Sullivan and Rick Mears. So join us for an exciting afternoon of racing action next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. That was a great event down in Miami, and I know you'll be enjoying that. And look at here. Is this rushing the season just a little bit?
I thought at least he ought to be dressed up like a turkey, not a Santa Claus yet.
Now they're enjoying themselves in the outskirts of Buffalo. 11 yards on the touchdown run by Riddick to make it a 14-7 ball game.
I know when that guy's dressed up like Santa Claus.